YouTubers and future game making designers. Alright, so as you see in the last tutorial, went over materials. Yes, this looks bad, but whatever. We went on to applying them, importing them, and making materials. So in this tutorial, actually I'm going to make my own entire map. Let's see, materials, map. Alright, so this one will be on static meshes, and I'm just doing this because it'll look better with a good floor terrain. Alright, so I'm going to go to static meshes in UDK game. See, there are a lot of them, and you could try to find some of them, like type in plant, and we get a bunch of plants. Get the tree. One I'd work with is rocks, which I would pick castle 1 through 3 and then 6. So this one kind of looks bad. Well, I don't know. No, I guess it doesn't. Alright, so show you static meshes, why they're good, a little disadvantages of them, and how they're disadvantaged. See there, it's only half. Yeah. Talk about why it's half later on. Oh, this is actually good detail. Oh wow, I never even use those because they look really bad. Alright, so see here, we've got a bunch of materials or static meshes with preset materials that looks really good on them. Now I'm gonna lighten up the area, copy and paste a couple of them, remove all the shadows. Alright, so I'm going to show you what's good and what's bad about static meshes. And some static meshes like these should be in background scenery. Doesn't have to be, because you could use a blocking volume so you can't go to it. And why you do that, see here, sometimes you can see through it a little bit. Sometimes you can walk through them. Not all. Like this one's going to stop me. One of them. Or not. I guess this one won't stop me. But see here, you can walk and you see it's completely empty. So you walk inside and you're like, where's the rock? So that's why you use blocking volumes. And I don't know if this one would be one. Oh wow, blocked me. Alright, so you got that. Notice all of them except this one and this one actually have blockage, I guess you call it. Volume where it stops you. I don't know why I'm doing this, but alright, so static meshes, some are paper thin, some are half the size, some you can walk through, some you shouldn't go too far up close to, because it just looks good in the background instead of up close, but doesn't really matter. Alright, so one thing to use with these is, if you're going to use them, add a uniform with certain objects to make them look more realistic instead of being all the same. So like that, it's kind of unrealistic. Same with that, looks too flat. And then you can just combine them all into one rock, so you get a bunch of different textures and on it. It makes it all blend in, look good. See, this is like an outlining border or something they could use, and it's really good. So it looks pretty realistic, I gotta admit. And this does this. I should have went over this in the last video, but this is in a lot of game engines, I could say. And what happens with the crap. Selected the floor. Yeah, that's one thing when copying pasting stuff. You might accidentally select the floor and then copy that, and then you messed yourself up a lot. I've done it over like 30 times before, copying grass before a new update that came out. I would copy and paste, and I made over 100, what is it, like 100 little plain trains. So right now I'm just making a little border of rocks over here. That's just how you should be able to figure out why I'm doing this. Alright, back to why it looks so bad when you overlap. So you have like two materials or textures that are basically fighting each other, I guess you'd call it, since they're overlapping and they're both trying to show up on your map or whatever you made. They're both trying to be there and show each other, so that's why it makes all those random lines. And since it does that, it makes it look really bad, and even in game it looks like that, so not exactly good. The way to fix that is to move it, basically. That's all you gotta do. Move it away or above, stuff like that. And you see this, and you just pop it up, and then there you go. Not all of them work this way, but some will. And here's your little map, I guess. I don't even want to save it, but so static meshes can be blocked, and I'm about to, let's see how long this is. 9 minutes. Alright, so I'm going to go over properties of static meshes right after this is built, and you get to see it more. And yeah, some blocked, some not. It's not a bad map, I gotta say, for static meshes or whatever. Alright, so what properties, game type, show you a thing here. Nice how you can walk through it. You can also write on it, which isn't exactly. See, that's what block all means. or weapon block. Like, so if you shoot something, it won't go straight through it, and it'll look like a solid even if it's in the background, so you can't get to it. And the properties are like F4 and F5, but F5 you probably never use. And you could edit stuff like the lighting, which I would use cast shadow. Doesn't accept, like, sometimes you don't want to accept light for certain objects. You want it dark, or if it emits its own light, you don't want it taking in light, because then it'll be overwhelming in the environment you put it in. Draw scale, which is like how big whatever it is. And I'd like to tell you how static meshes are made. Like, you use a program like Maya, 3ds Max, ZBrush, stuff like that, and you draw it out basically, and I guess you flatten the image, and then it takes its shape so it doesn't take up an entire mass, and it saves you memory, stuff like that, because you don't want your game to be like overwhelming with it having to process a ton of stuff with memory, even though it's sitting there and you're never going to use. So make it simpler, make it half of whatever it is. So I hope this video helped a little bit, showed you a little more on designing maps. So please like, favorite, comment, subscribe. Thank you.